Hi there, welcome to the Quilty Joy of Scraps. And for today's project, I sorted out from one of my boxes just blue pieces. They are different shades of blue, ranging from almost green. So there is some turquoise and so it is almost green, but it's actually matching with the others. There is some batiks. There is almost gray blue. Many of them, like these ones, I have in abundance because that were the leftovers from backing, and I like to keep them, especially if I used a very nice fabric on the back. And this one is such nice with flowers. And so it's collection with different varieties of blue, ranging from almost green to almost purple. And let's see what there are different shapes, mostly strips, but also some squares and rectangles and bigger and smaller ones. Some are again with tons of green. I'm not sure if I would take, but it also has some red, so just for the contrast. And let's see what we can do from this small pile of scraps. What we see here right now, it's some odd shapes that were just left out from cutting different elements. So let's use those first, and then we will incorporate the longer strips. And there is not much rhyme to this, what I'm doing. So I'm just taking whatever two elements I have. Let me pull out the bottom thread. And I will just chain piece some of them. So let's see what we have here, especially after we connect such elements. So let me change the angle a little bit. So right now we have such element here, and I can already see that I will have to cut this one a bit away, and I will cut it also like here, and then we will have some interesting dynamics here. This is still usable, and let's see what we have here. Sooner or later I will have to start ironing those. So for now I'm just undoing it. So we have such nice, actually this we will cut differently. Yeah, so now we can start squaring those a little bit more up. So actually, if you see, if I will put this one together, I will have a very nice usage of the angle, and it will fit together very nicely. And I will simply trim the excess later on. When the sewn pieces are larger, then I will take them to the ironing board, iron them, and make them square. For now I will just leave it like that. It looks very nice. This one is very... So again, let's just roll it a little bit, trim the excess. And again, I can do that with scissors on the small pieces, but when they are larger, I will have to start. Probably I will have to start actually using the rotary cutter and the cutting board in a moment. So let's add some more. So this one is long enough, and let's add it here. This one is more or less straight edge. We can more or less eyeball the length that we need. I want to stick to more or less uniform seam allowance, but because it's a scrappy project, I don't really care that all the points are matching, because that's not the kind of sewing project. So I will iron it. Let me see, I can actually add this one still to this side because it has a nice length, just fitting. And when working with such small scraps of fabric, crumbs, you can just start creating incredibly dynamic projects and elements that can be then used for different elements. So I will iron those and cut them to shape, and now let's make another one. So here we had this leftover scrap. Let's use it. I like the irregular forms because they are adding extra dynamics. I don't like using very small pieces because then the seam allowances are very, very thick and the quilting becomes much more difficult. So let me just cut it here. And here. So let's add one element more. Perfect. This one is very interesting because of the nice pattern and blue and green mixture in it. This one's a little bit too small, so let's add some element here on top of a narrow strip so we can then connect those two together. And let's use this one. It's actually with a bit of salvage, but it's so thin I will not cut it away. So let's trim it. And let's add it. The pieces will continue to grow. This one is already pretty decent, and I will iron those 3, cut them to the side, and right now I have here one of my bigger patches sewn together from small strips and elements, and I would like to have 6 by 6 inch square, and then I can position my, as you can see here, I have lots of room to play around how to position my ruler, and I think I will cut it that way, and the rest will be used in other projects. So let me cut it, and then let me finish the other ones. This one still needs some work, and I do not have to be yet exactly precise because I am not done yet when I am at 6 inch squares, scrappy squares. So let me do that. I simply cannot hold the camera and do the cutting, but I will show you in a moment how the almost finished size elements look like. I have my 3 scrappy elements ready. As you can see, they consist of different shapes, elements sewn together, different shades of blue with a little bit of red. The elements are not all square and rectangles. There are some triangles, rhomboids, shapes, everything to add some dynamics. Some of those irregular shapes were created by cutting triangular piece or using a triangular piece, but some of them were created because at the end I twisted the block under my ruler and I cut it in some way on bias. So this is the 3rd one. So now it's the question how we will utilize them, and I decided to go a little bit risky. I was considering using a very bright light color background, but then I decided to use this big piece of blue fabric that I always have laying around. As I said, in this channel I am using the fabric that I have on hand. I'm not buying anything extra for it. So let's use this dark blue. I will iron it before. I will use it to create a larger negative space between the elements, and I will show you how I did that. So just for your information, you can just add white strips of background fabric around as a frame and connect it in a row. You can also add strips on the sides in different lengths and create, and probably that's what I will do, and create irregular create a block where those scrappy elements are not laying on top of each other, so there is extra dynamics. And whatever you do, everything is fine. You can also add some triangular elements and twist them. This is also will be working perfectly fine. The point is, I want to add some extra fabric in between because I would like to quilt it nicely, and the quilting will be presented on my other channel, Quilting Nerd. So I will show you in a moment how I connected the elements. Let's embed our pieces, and for that I cut strips of 6" of background fabric and of different lengths on both sides that will allow me to create those nice offsets between my elements. And in between I just cut very thin strips of fabric because I wanted to use like all of it and didn't add more because there is enough of scrappiness as it is already. So you could just add strips of fabric, kind of like treating the whole piece like a log cabin, and connect the 3 of them, and then have built kind of a tower, one on top of the other. So create a long rectangular structure. I prefer to have more negative space around, and that's why I am going for the long strips on the side that are wide, and there I can create some secondary pattern with the quilting to complement the whole design. So that would be the strip number 1, which is the unit number 1, then it's ready. And in this case I used the same widths, the same lengths of my dark blue elements on both sides. So that would be the element number 1. Now let's take element number 2, and in this case I just have a tiny bit on one side. As you can see, it's 3.5 wide actually, and then I will have much longer strip on the other side. I always press to the side where it's less seams, so always to my background. And now the other side. So when you create such scrappy fabric in a way, because these are such large blocks, you can combine them exactly the same way and use them to create a very nice modern quilt. So that's also always an option. And in the third one here, I have somewhere in between, so in this case the element is 7 on one side, is 7-inch wide, and on the other one it's slightly larger, so it's not exactly half. Simply in this way we will have some nice dynamic connection. And to connect those elements, I will use thin strips of, I could just cut 1.5 and 1 inch white strips, because for more I didn't have the fabric, but that's sufficient. So let me connect it all together in one element, and I will show you how it looks like before quilting, and then at the end after quilting when I'm done. The top element is ready. All the 3 scrappy squares are embedded into background fabric. Of course it has to be still squared, but I will do that after the quilting is complete. So that's how it looks like when it's not quilted. We have nice contrast, we have nice dynamics. So our canvas is ready. Now I will quilt it. If you want to see it, I will link a video to my other channel where you can see all of it in detail. This is my finished scrappy patchwork with scrappy quilting, and as you can see, the quilting changed the look of the quilt completely. That's always the case. And scraps can be used to create something unique. That's, I think, one of another good examples about this, what you can do with scraps. That's not the only thing you can do with scraps. And I have it in my other hand, so I will just drop it on the floor. I do not have that much big space to show it right now. And that's a whole quilt. It's a decent big twin size quilt or small queen, and there are several offset blocks done from different scraps of fabrics, just embedded in gray background and quilted with all over flowers, and it looks great. So use your scraps, you will get a great result.